Finally, there is some excellent news for the Australian housing market. Now, it's been a long time coming, but it had to be done. Negative gearing and capital gains tax discounts combined with Albo's insatiable appetite to import the rest of the planet pumped house prices to the moon since COVID. Add to that a Reserve Bank who clearly no longer thinks its job is fighting inflation, but instead focuses solely on keeping house prices from falling and protecting banks' profits, then you have had the perfect storm of insanity creating a housing market that is hooked on the Class A drug that is capital gains. The problem with this is that a whole generation and all future generations of Australians are being locked out. Every auction across the country has just been an investor feeding frenzy for so long now it's hard to remember that Australia many moons ago actually had a bit of fairness in its soul. But hey, finally, this government has attempted to bring back some of this fairness. Admittedly, they probably don't understand the repercussions of what they've done because they are obviously clueless. If they were not clueless, then they would not have introduced a 5% deposit guarantee scheme before collapsing the market. But credit where credit's due, at least they have finally done something. Now, there are still many investors out there who think that their investment is fine because they can still negatively gear their existing property. And that's true. But investing in Australian property is not worth doing nowadays if you don't get capital gains out of it. And if you actually start getting capital losses because the investment property value goes down, what would be the point? And without negative gearing and capital gains tax discounts, what sane investor would bother? Honestly. So inevitably, if you remove the sane investors from the Australian housing market, what will happen to Australian house prices? Yes, exactly this. And this. And this. And if you add to this the crazy levels of inflation that even the RBA cannot pretend to not see anymore, meaning that they are going to have to start properly raising rates soon, or Australians will have to take a mortgage out just to go to Coles, then if you're a normal person, just step back and look at the numbers. And by normal, I mean a person whose mind has not been corrupted by the Ponzi virus. Then obviously investing in Australian property simply does not make sense anymore. Just look at it. This is the first property that came up when I searched on a major property portal for the Perth area with the keyword rental, so I could see how much an investor buying this would expect to get in rent, and this is what came up. Now, I'm not going to embarrass the owner or the listing agent by showing them or the house, but it is listed from $749,000, and it is no oil painting, you'll have to believe me. It has an estimated rental return of $600 per week, and if you could see the pictures, you'd wonder how. So the estimated property price is $749,000. And let's be generous that imagine somehow a young person has won the lottery and has 20% or $149,800 to put down as a deposit. The average mortgage rate right now in Australia today from Google is 5.9%. Then let's scroll back up to see the monthly repayments. So it's only $3,778 per month. And remember, the rent is $600 per week. Oh, and the council rates are approximately $1,890 per annum, and the water rates are approximately $1,993 per annum, and not to mention any insurance or maintenance costs. Now, this insanity is normal right now across Australia. And if you still don't see a problem because you are still hooked on the hard stuff, then look at this. What this means is that normal wage earners could not and cannot afford these stupid house prices. Only investors could, because they could rip off the taxpayers with their negative gearing and capital gains tax discounts. But now they can't. And while it would be fun watching investors get burned, and watch them all buying now, most likely suffering catastrophic losses, whilst not caring one bit about young Australians, I do have to check my contempt and give them a little bit of real advice. Nobody knows for sure what house prices are going to do in Australia moving forward. But the recent post-COVID run has been artificially pumped by the RBA and government policies. They have been the dealers who have kept feeding the habit of the feeble-minded to create their desired artificial wealth effect, but the Class A supply has just been withdrawn by albo. Now what do you think is going to happen? And don't forget to like and subscribe, guys. Get your popcorn at the ready, because this is going to be epic.